All right. Well, welcome everyone. I'm very excited to have students from Denmark High School today to present student-led research teams. They gave this presentation at the beginning of the BioBuilder Club season meetup at Georgia Tech and are wonderfully sharing it with the rest of the BioBuilder Club. So I am going to hand it off to them and I'll spotlight them. All right, take it away.
Hi, everyone. Today we're going to be presenting how to build a student-led research team. Oh, okay. My name is Chelsea Alonso Francis, and I'm a junior at Denmark High School in Alpharetta, Georgia.
And my name is Ria Gupta. I'm a senior at Denmark High School.
My name is Arav Arora, and I am also a senior at Denmark High School. Okay, so a quick background. This is going to be our second year of BioBuilders. And last year, we worked to create a diagnostic design for tuberculosis. And we were able to go through the BioBuilder season and even publish our research in the Biotech's journal.
So we had a couple of experiences that helped motivate us to really start this student-led research team. And some of those included internships at Georgia Tech for nanotech and synbio, where we learned different research, experimentation, and lab skills. And through participating in poster sessions, working on that research paper and drafting it, we really were able to learn a lot of new things. And in that, we learned that these experiences are what high schoolers can truly achieve. And a lot of people don't realize that. So we hope to further spread BioBuilders so that more high schoolers can experience this.
Okay, so starting off with why student-led research is important. So one of the most important things that student-led research brings is critical thinking and problem solving. So when you're working through your BioBuilder project, there's going to be a lot of different scientific papers that you're going through and a lot of new ideas that you're introduced to. It's really important to work as a team to understand these complex scientific concepts together. Another really great thing about working in a student-led research team is that you get to design your own solution to a problem, which is really exciting, and it helps you build your science communication skills, which is super important if you're trying to pursue a STEM-related career in the future. And most importantly, you're going to have to troubleshoot so much. I know the three of us had to go through a lot of different versions of our project to get to our final idea, but that's totally okay. And that's one of the best things about being in a team, that you're able to work through those conflicts.
Okay, another important part is leadership and teamwork. So being in BioBuilders will help students practice their team building and collaboration skills, which even outside of BioBuilders is so important even for things like college and group projects when you're actually working a job. It will also help you build soft skills. And like I said, this is also going to be helpful in college when talking to professors, or if you decide to pursue careers and research in college as well. Additionally, students who are experienced can mentor newcomers, and then this will help spread a fostering community, which will help BioBuilders grow even bigger into a community.
So now we're going to talk about the part that you all have been waiting for, is how do you create that team? So we have a couple of steps laid out for you guys, and these are just a basic overview, but they really do work. And we're going to start off with find the students that are really, truly passionate about science and learning. Those students really stick out, and you're going to see their commitment. You're going to see how they delve into research papers without complaining about how many words it is. Second off, you're going to encourage members to step up as student leaders. So our sponsor, Ms. Carnudo, allowed us to step up as student leaders, which is how we really discovered our passion for student leadership. And it also allowed us to create this class.
So next up is starting the research ideation process. In my opinion, this is the most fun part of BioBuilder, starting to come up with your idea. Of course, you guys are going to have so many different ideas from so many different fields, but it's important to stay realistic. There's going to be things that don't work, and that's totally okay. For example, when we were starting with our tuberculosis diagnostic, we were planning on doing a patch that could detect the bacteria, but that didn't actually work. And we had to go through multiple versions of our idea, which is totally fine. It's all about the process, and you learn so much along the way. Another really important thing when creating a team is to take advantage of the adults around you. They are super helpful, especially your mentors and teachers. BioBuilder is so great with providing every single team with an experienced mentor. You guys should totally take advantage of the hours you guys have to meet with them. They can teach you so much, and they can introduce you to new ideas and new aspects of your project that you might have not thought of in the future.
Next, we have pushback and defeat. So like Chelsea said earlier, we experienced a lot of pushbacks in our idea, especially when we were considering the patch for the tuberculosis test. However, our team didn't give up, and we continued to iterate through our ideas, and we created new designs and talked to our mentors even more. And we were able to eventually surpass our problems and finally create that lateral flow assay, which we published in our research. Next, we have the deadlines. So BioBuilders has strict deadlines, like many other things. And an important part is to keep these deadlines in mind, especially for your group. Our group started pretty late last year in terms of creating or finding what topic we want to do. And this caused us some problems down the road. So if you keep these agendas and you create these calendars earlier, you won't face these issues later down the line.
Okay, so of course, being student leaders means that you're gonna have some people that you're gonna have to train a little bit. You're gonna have to support them because they're new to this whole process. But that's the beauty of this whole club. So basically, what we've done throughout our scientific research class, and even just in BioBuilders in general, adding new people, was to mentor. And we did this by, being patient and supportive because they need time to truly grasp those concepts. Don't rush them. Along with that, you want to break down those complex concepts into simpler ideas. Start from the bottom and then build your way up. Along with that, encourage curiosity, creativity, and collaboration. Sure, it's not the best idea yet, but they're getting somewhere. Just keep them going, and eventually they'll realize some limitations and keep going. Along with that, do what you want them to do and lead by examples. You want to show that you are enthusiastic, confident, passionate, and they're going to follow in your footsteps.
So how can all of these things apply specifically to BioBuilder? So starting off with communication, in BioBuilder, what leading a successful research team looks like is everyone in the group explaining their findings clearly. There's going to be a lot of times where you guys will have an agenda to look through scientific papers and do your research. The most important thing to do when you come back into a team setting is to explain these things clearly for the whole team to understand. When it comes to collaboration, a really important part of BioBuilder is being able to work through the problems in your design. There's always going to be things that you can improve, and instead of starting a conflict, it's better to try to resolve it and work as a team to fix whatever the problem is. When it comes to leadership, it's really, really beneficial for people to step up as student leaders and guide the project. That's what the three of us all did, and now we are helping lead the multiple BioBuilder teams at our school this year. That includes delegating tasks and mentoring students who are newer to the program. And one of the best parts of BioBuilder is the creativity and problem solving that you get to do. The whole point of BioBuilder is to be able to apply your biology knowledge to solve real world problems. One of the best ways you can build your physical understanding of biology is by doing labs. Labs are a great way to bond with your team, but to also understand that the science that you are creating has a real world impact.
Okay, so please feel free to ask us if you have any questions on our presentation or even our experience with the class.
Do we have any questions?
So I'll open it up to teachers and students who have joined this call. And then I have some questions that I think other teams might have in mind. So does anyone here have any questions for the team?
Oh, well, is he?
Oh, is someone asking a question, or
Do you need to get
if you guys stop your screen share, then I think it'll be easier to see everybody.
There we go.
Okay. Any questions from teams who are here? Yeah, I'll go first. So, I was wondering, you talked about recruiting like students who are passionate about science into the team. And I was wondering if you had some examples of specific ways that you went about that, that other people might be able to implement at their schools.
So actually, what we actually noticed was more through our sponsor, since she was the one who helped us like start this process. And she would look through people who asked a lot of questions when it wasn't necessary, or taking the time to understand different concepts. And it's just taking the extra step when no one else really does. And as when I look at people who are passionate, I see them dedicate time every day or every other day as like a consistent effort because they truly like to do it.
That's awesome. So, kind of, you're stressing the importance of building good relationships with faculty at the school that can help recruit passionate students. I think that's really good advice. Um, can you talk a little bit about how you structure the teams in terms of when do you meet? How frequently? Do you have like roles on the team for different students leading different aspects of the project?
So our team is actually pretty flexible when it comes to things like that. Last year, our meetings weren't consistent. We did try to plan our mentor meetings like a week ahead at least, so we could plan around that. This year, we actually are working through our BioBuilder projects in a class called Scientific Research, which is really exciting. And we can meet every other day during the school day to work on our projects. So that makes things a lot easier. As far as advice I can give to other BioBuilder teams, definitely last year not having a consistent schedule was kind of difficult and it made things harder to like delegate tasks, all sorts of things like that. So I would really recommend like scheduling a time once a week at least to meet. That's super helpful. And as far as roles on the team, the three of us are definitely student leaders, but we emphasize delegating tasks to other people a lot. We want everyone to have an opportunity to take a leadership role. And so if someone has something to say, we're always open to hearing what they have to say.
That's wonderful. You talked a little bit about last year having less of a schedule, and how this year having that class has really helped. So it sounds like some structure is important in keeping the team focused. Were there any tools or technology that you used? I know a lot of teams use Google Docs, but I know there's a lot of other options to kind of centralize all of the team's research ideas and prepare to meet with your mentor?
So last year we actually created a shared Google folder and we were able to keep all of our meeting notes in separate documents. And we shared that with our mentor as well. And so he was able to access all of those resources, which made communication back and forth a lot easier. This year, what we're doing currently is we have a singular Google Doc and separate tabs within that Google Doc, which include all of our meeting notes and our research and our references as well. And like I said earlier, that is also shared with our mentor. So he can just go through and access it whenever we have any questions for him in specific. And yeah, that's about it. Other than that, we were also using email or Gmail to communicate with our mentors, which is pretty standard, but it also allows us to add everyone within the thread so that everyone is up to date.
That's great. Um, I have a few more questions, but I don't know if anyone else here has any questions they want to ask.
I have a question.
Go for it.
Yeah, my name's Ivana, and I'm trying to start a BioBuilder club at my school. So when you find a problem to work on, like for example, your team said that you worked on like tuberculosis, how did you exactly design an experiment for the problem that you chose? Because I'm kind of at like a loss as to like where to begin researching.
So what I will definitely say, before you even think about how you're gonna solve it, I would say look at what already exists. Because in the time that we're living in right now, there's so much research going on that people have already started. There's gonna be something there. And that's what we did for TB is we looked at, the tests that are already there. They're usually like growing cultures or something, which isn't as accessible and takes longer. So we thought, how can we make the test faster? So you look at like the limitations of what already exists and you try to improve on it. And that's when we compared LFAs to like COVID tests and pregnancy tests, and we took inspiration from that. But it really depends on your idea and what applies to that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I think that's a great answer. Kind of looking at existing approaches, and kind of addressing the shortcomings of those existing approaches. Um, so I guess a little bit earlier in the project ideation process, what was the brainstorming process like with your team, and how did you even settle, like last year on the TV projects or your projects this year?
So, yeah, the beginning of our project ideation process last year was chaotic, I guess. And there was so many ideas that we were going through.
But like
I
chaotic good?
Yeah, chaotic good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think our very first idea was like bioluminescent bacteria that could like replace light sources. So that's completely different from the project that we ended up on. Um, we basically all had our own ideas and we tasked ourselves with looking into it and kind of pitching our ideas to the rest of the group, like why did we want to choose this, what are the limitations, what's the benefit of that. I think that's a really good approach to take when you're in a team. Kind of try to sell your idea to everyone else, and that way people can try to see the limitations within your own project, and you can go back and do the research that you need to do to like bolster your idea. But yeah.
That's great. Yeah, I remember last year, the project took a different direction. And I think that a lot of times research is kind of serendipitous like that. You start one way and then you do a lot of literature review and you go with something else. So speaking of that, last week we talked about literature research in the BioBuilder Club. So do you have any advice for teams for what worked for you? Because I know that a lot of high school students doing the BioBuilder Club for the first time, reading primary scientific literature is totally new. And as student leaders now kind of mentoring newer students, do you have any techniques that worked or resources you shared with those newer students?
Okay, so for our class at least, we had lots of new students who were brand new to research. And so what we did is we compiled like a small slideshow with with some resources from Yale specifically. And they had like an article on how to go through research papers and look for exactly what you want. And so we actually presented that to our team. And we did a couple example proposals as well to help them get used to that process before we actually dove into our actual research for BioBuilders. And that just helped them get used to the process of quickly reviewing through research papers. But outside of that, we also use resources like Notebook LM, which can compile a bunch of research into some single phrases or maybe a couple paragraphs. And that can help you quickly skim through papers that you may want to go deeper into.
Yeah, and another thing that we did was just honestly just reading the paper together. You have people of different experience levels and some can understand it faster. But if someone breaks it down for you and you start reading it, you can like connect the dots and kind of start to understand how people phrase it.
That's great advice. I like the idea of kind of doing some practice read throughs before delving into your specific topic. Um, in terms of accessing literature, did you run into any issues with that and how did you solve them?
Um, You know, there's always going to be some times where things are stuck behind a paywall, which is not like the ideal situation. But a lot of times that's where your mentor can come in handy. Your mentor probably has some sort of account that has access to things that you don't have access to. So you can always ask your mentor to send you that paper or to try to explain it to you in simpler terms. Yeah.
And I will say, if you have a dual account, I don't know if some of you guys are dual enrolling, but you often your university that you're dual enrolling at has access to some of those like Science Direct, maybe ResearchGate. I know ResearchGate's a little weird, but some of them you can try logging in, and that's worth a shot.
Yeah, most schools, if you're involved in any college or university, or if your mentor is, or even working in industry, will probably have some sort of institutional um, subscription to different research collections. And yeah, asking your mentor is always good. I also recommend if you really need a certain paper and you can't get it, emailing the authors. Have you guys ever done that before? How did it go? I know students are sometimes nervous to email the authors.
You know, I've done that a couple of times. I don't know, maybe like my email goes straight to spam, but they just never respond. But I usually get my teachers to do it. I had one for a different class this year. I had my instructor email and they responded then.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. Well, I'm glad it worked out. Sometimes it's hit or miss, but I'm glad that that worked out. Does anyone else here have other questions? I don't want to dominate the Q&A here. Okay, I have a couple more questions. So I think teams would also love to hear about kind of your preparation for the final assembly. So I think most teams now in late December are kind of settling on projects and kind of getting started working with their mentors. But now that you have completed one season where you did finish the projects and present at the final assembly, like what's something that you wish you knew looking back that this year you're gonna prepare for the final assembly differently?
Probably just the amount of information that you're gonna need to keep track of. I think one of our mistakes was kind of forgetting to write things down and keep track of the papers we were using, especially also when we were writing our paper for biotechs. We had so many sources that we had to go back and look for. So having everything really organized will make things so much easier when it comes time to um, construct your poster and write your lightning talk and make the video. All of that will be so much easier if you just stay organized. I think that's the biggest thing that we want to change for this year. Just keep everything in one place and write down everything that we need.
That's solid advice. Did you guys say you were using a citation management system, or have you tried that?
So the citations, at least for biotechs, were a little tricky because you needed to index them in a way that it was like the order that you use them, you have to like number them. And let's say you switched around something, then you have to like switch it again. But as far as like the actual formatting of how you cite it, I like to use MyBib. It kind of organizes it for you and you can just copy paste it. It'll tell you the credibility and it's pretty easy to use.
Yeah, so you haven't tried something like Zotero, like it's like a free citation manager that you can install in your browser, and like share it across your team. I don't know, something that teams might want to look into. Um, how was the Biotrex process? So now all of the articles are out. So congratulations to all the teams that published.
Yes. The biotricks process was it was a lot of work. You know, getting it in by the deadline. It was yeah, it was a lot, but it was actually really fun because in BioBuilder, of course, you're coming up with a solution and doing a lot of research, but when you do your Biotreks paper, you're really going into the nitty-gritty and understanding why things work the way they work. And you never know, you might come up with a problem and you might need to find a way to fix it. So the biotricks process was really fun, especially because we did a design paper. So we got to look for all the components that we would use to actually build our diagnostic test, which was really interesting. And yeah, it was a lot of fun. And you also get to look at other people's papers that they want published, and you get feedback, you get to give feedback. The judges are super nice and they tell you what you should include, what looks good, things you should add, everything like that. So it was a really fun process.
The main feedback that we got that was something that we worked on was actually adding more illustrations. And Arv worked on the illustrations for us. And I think a lot of like people overlook the fact that writing a research paper is, you know, of course you learn a lot about your project and research as well, but just understanding how it's formatted and like that also helps you read research papers in the future as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so definitely like the figure making and things like that. So you did, so after the BioBuilder Club season ended, you published in biotech, so there's that peer review process. Now that you have the sustaining club and this is your second year and you have more teams, do you guys do anything in like the off season of the BioBuilder Club to kind of keep the momentum going and get more students involved?
So currently in our class, we're doing BioBuilders, but in the little gaps that we aren't working on any BioBuilders project, we actually are giving them exposure using labs. So within our class, we create like groups of 3 to 4, and this allows us to help the newer members gain a lot more experience, especially when we get further into the season and we decide, oh, we want to test this. They actually know what they need to do for the procedure.
That's awesome. So what labs do you work on in the class to kind of teach these skills to students?
That we've actually ordered all of the past BioBuilder labs.
So we've ordered all the past BioBuilder labs and we've done
All
some
of
of them.
them. Wow.
Yeah, they've been really fun and they teach you a lot.
We did a soil lab.
The soil one was so cool. Like it was actually a little scary because you know we were growing some things that were probably not the safest, but you got to see a lot of different colors, shapes, textures of bacteria.
Yeah, the transformation lab is cool. Seeing that your plasmid gets taken up is really nice. And also another thing that we've been doing is creating labs for the special needs community at our school. That's been really fun and it's a great way to like interact with the rest of the school. So it also teaches you a lot on how to structure as like an experiment yourself, which is really great. Like if you want to test whatever your BioBuilder project is, that's you learn a lot from that.
That's really cool. What kind of labs have you adapted for that program?
So, you know, you have like the normal ones that are like, you know, potato battery or like a volcano, but we also have like lava lamps. We did like this popcorn like kind of lab where it uses static electricity with a balloon and you have like little like hole punch paper clippings and you put the statically charged balloon over it and it starts like popping. We're working on like a Christmas tree, crystal growing one right now among the, I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of circuit ones.
Last year they did with 6 pipetting.
We sometimes they do pipetting actually, like with colors and stuff, which is cool. I know there's like a rocket, like with Alka-Seltzer, that's one of the ideas. Yeah, there's a lot of different labs, but it teaches you a lot just coming up with them and explaining it to them.
I love that. That's awesome. Um, Anyone else have any questions? I'm sorry, I'm asking all the questions that I think teams would want to know, but I might be wrong. So for the teams who are here, what do you have questions or do you have answers to my questions that I've asked that are a little bit different? Get some diversity of approaches here. No more questions? Okay, I'll ask one more. So your team, it sounds like, has a lot of different training elements and working together now that you have this class. So I don't know if it was different last year versus this year. But does your club do any fundraising or anything like that? I know that a lot of students who are starting new teams are curious about that.
I mean, mainly our sponsor has been emailing like so many different places. For fundraisers, I know that like it's popular to have like this like the world's greatest chocolate fundraiser. There's like a popcorn one.
Wait, the what? Chocolate?
World's greatest chocolate. So
Those
Oh, okay.
chocolate bars that
finest, finest.
oh,
chocolate.
finest, yeah.
Yeah.
They're just, you get a box of chocolate bars and sell them for like $1 or $2, and everyone at our school buys them.
Yeah.
So
I bought one today.
Yeah.
Dark chocolate. Yeah.
they're good, actually. They're really good.
Yeah. So you make like a
That
good
is
amount of-
great advice.
yeah.
And I know Anna's on the call. And Anna, you use Chick-fil-A to fundraise, right?
All right, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I have to.
I-
my cat just ran- And we use Chick-fil-A. We've kind of the school has now limited my access to be able to sell all day, but you know, I still sell in the morning. But yeah, that got us through the first couple years and trips to Boston and everything. So it was great.
That's awesome.
That's amazing. All of our teams are so creative. There's a question in the comments. Are you
Yeah.
allowed to eat the popcorn?
So actually the popcorn was not like edible. It's just little like you know when you hole punch like the paper that comes out, it's just
Yeah.
that.
Looks like.
So there it kind of pops up when it like interacts with the
floats.
static.
But
So,
honestly, if you
I
want-
wish there was popcorn though.
We are making popcorn tomorrow, baking soda and vinegar.
Oh, apparently we're making popcorn tomorrow with baking soda and vinegar. So I wouldn't
Making it
There you
recommend
go.
eating, but if you want to have like popcorn on the side, like awesome, go for it.
Yeah.
Very nice. All right. Well, any other questions? Anna, do you have any questions or different strategies that your team has used to share with advice for new teams?
Well, I guess it's just trial and error, you know, every year kind of gets better. The first year we always do the research design. And then the second year students will actually implement some of the research. So we have two groups. One is doing a design and one is doing a lab report. So they're a little different elements to a lab, but I didn't know at the beginning that you could actually publish in BioTrex just with the design. But that was a great experience.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So that's definitely something I need to
Yeah.
advertise more.
Yeah. Yes. So.
Yeah, so we'll be sharing the BioTrex publications soon because they're all out. And for teams who are listening, there's a lot of different article types that you can publish. And I think this year we have 35 BioBuilder Club publications, and many of them are design briefs.
Yes.
So definitely go check those out. We'll be updating the BioBuilder Club project library. You can see what everyone published last year. And I've just heard good feedback from the BioTrex peer review process.
And last year you sold it on Amazon also. I got one of the books on Amazon. I don't know when that came out, but
Yes,
last year it
this
was like
one
a
will be
couple-
on Amazon again too.
Yeah, so that's also.
The cover art is amazing. I will say that.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen the cover, so I've seen it on BioTrex, but yeah, last year was great.
Well, I have run out of questions, but I hope that this was helpful for students kind of starting new teams. I appreciate all of you for sharing your experiences. So, any closing advice, Denmark students, that you would have for teams who are new or teams that are growing as yours has?
I mean, we're all a BioBuilder community, and we're all at different stages. So I would say if you ever get frustrated or some things aren't working for you, we're all here for each other. So if you need to contact us, go for it. And don't give up. It's a hard process. I'm not gonna say it's easy. We've had lots of late nights, very, very late nights, pizza nights, pizza after school, that kind of thing. So, it gets hard, but you'll make it through.
Yeah, it's
Great.
overall just a really fun process, and You guys will totally enjoy it. All the hard work, it pays off in the end. So yeah, I hope you guys all have a great time with your team.
Yeah, I'd say just like dive in. You're gonna enjoy it. If you're doing BioBuilders, you probably enjoy doing research. So even just being able to look at all these research articles and just take little bits from each and compile your own research paper, I'm sure you're all gonna enjoy that. So just have fun with the process.
That's awesome.
Well, thank you. Thank you, everyone. That was wonderful. I appreciate you.
Hey, Chloe, if you have a minute.
Yeah, I do. Yes.